안녕하세요. 저소입니다. 감사합니다. Kept you waiting, huh? Okay, today I want to do something something random-ish, something kind of fun, and so I'm gonna check out NCT Dream beatbox music video. Now this is pretty interesting right from the start. This is quite a setup here. We got two ghetto blasters for one, and looks like it's a pretty big stack right there. Is it an orange amp? This is crazy. Okay, let's check this out.
Okay. Boom, boom, chicka, boom, boom. Yeah, all right. Boom, chicka, boom. Hey, let's go. Boom, chicka, boom, chicka, chicka, boom. Yeah. 뱉는 순간 널 beat bum bum bum. Cool kick down kick on the drum drum drum. Sugar pop, I got some. 몸이 반응해 like a morning call. 뭐라든 달라지길 원하면 가만 기다리지 말고 힘껏 소리 내질러. Dance up dance up dance dance. 또 한 번 세상을 흔들어 볼게. Watch me.
24/7 아직 부족해.
들리니 함께 있는 매일 put it on replay. Yeah, 미쳐버릴 핫 만들어. Yeah, yeah. Beatbox 터뜨려. Yeah, yeah. 너일수록 완벽한 공간. Everywhere I go with the beatbox. Yeah, 지금 올라타 우리 flow. Yeah, yeah. Beatbox 터뜨려. Yeah, yeah. 내 목소리 자체가 음악. Everywhere I go, bring the beatbox.
Boom chicka dum chicka chicka boom boom chicka dum chicka.
Everywhere I go, bring the beatbox.
Boom chicka chicka boom boom chicka dum chicka.
Everywhere I go, bring the beatbox. 장난 없는 장단, boom boom boom. 아프면 중독될 걸, yum yum yum. 너의 머릿속에 ring 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 울려. 따라하고 싶게 돼, 그냥 listen up. 입에 붙어 like a snack, 다시 repeat 되는 trap. 이 rhythm make it pop like soda. Yeah, 그게 pop like soda. Yeah, 처음 느끼는 new flavor.
Watch me.
Ooh, just
날
watch me.
따라오면 돼.
후회 않게. 어딜 가도 이 rhythm은 계속 replay. Yeah, 미쳐버릴 핫 만들어. Yeah, yeah. Beatbox 터뜨려. Yeah, yeah. 너일수록 완벽한 공간. Everywhere I go, bring the beatbox.
Boom chicka dum chicka chicka boom boom chicka dum chicka.
Everywhere I go, bring the beatbox.
Boom chicka chicka boom boom chicka dum chicka.
Everywhere I go, bring the beatbox.
다 미루고 얼어붙으면 crazy. We know there's no stopping. 느껴진다면 time to start.
내 목소리로 새로운 이야기를 써. 이 울림이 번져갈 world. 뛰어들어 baby right now. Dance the dance the dance dance. 우리만이 가능한 음악. Everywhere I go, bring the beatbox. Everywhere I go, bring the beatbox. Yeah, 미쳐버릴 핫 만들어. Yeah, yeah. Beatbox 터뜨려. Yeah, yeah. 너일수록 완벽한 공간. 우리만의 노래. Everywhere I go, bring the beatbox. 지금처럼 서로의 음을 맞춰 우리가 함께 만들 음악. Everywhere I go, bring the beatbox.
꿈꿔왔던 순간이 여기 있어. We won't stop for a moment.
Everywhere I go, bring the beatbox.
Boom chicka dum chicka chicka boom boom chicka dum chicka.
Everywhere I go, bring the beatbox.
Boom chicka chicka boom boom chicka dum chicka.
Everywhere I go, bring the beatbox.
So pretty interesting. Actually, I didn't know what to expect. It's a lot lighter, I guess, like lighthearted. You know what I mean? It's pretty feel good. Like it has a bit of a throwback type of feel to it. In the sound, it's like real late 90s, maybe early 2000s. the visual too, like a lot of that stuff, the boom boxes and stuff, even the idea of beatboxing itself. What's interesting too is that like it's a pretty straightforward minimalist type of take in the song structure. You got percussion that stays pretty crisp and really spaced out for the most part. The bass it's actually really nice. Like it's a really good well engineered, very cool bass type of sound. It's got such presence, but like it feels light instead of heavy, and a little bit of like synth in the bridge section. They've got a little bit more colorful there, some more like sustained sounds throughout, but there's a cool like emphasis on the vocal. Now of course beatboxing is this percussive style that has really evolved over time to encompass a whole lot more things, but it's it's performance with the mouth, right? It's producing all the sounds with the mouth, and there's a lot of like emphasis on the vocal deliveries and stuff here. All those sort of little like the end to each phrase, where they drop the beat out completely and either like have it sung or whispered, or you know what I mean, like the vocal part. So there's a lot of fun work with the vocal recordings. It's a really clean recording. All that space, in between everything that's going on, since it is such like a minimalist type of structure, but it's pretty cool, and it does have like this feel good type of vibe to it. Like it feels so light. Everything about it just feels so light, and it's interesting. There's some pitch shifting going on with the it's like this hooky part. I think it's like right at the chorus or maybe right after the chorus, but it's a and you can hear like the actual processing on the vocal part, and a little bit of I think like in the last verse there was some production on the vocal work as far as like some of that auto-tune sound, but not more done as like a truly as an effect, because it doesn't even appear until way later in the song. But it's fun. It's a fun concept.
Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, all right. Boom, chicka, boom. Hey, let's go.
So a little staggered, like a sort of false sort of starts or whatever. I wonder if somebody did record the beatbox sounds, you know what I mean? Like if one of the members actually does that, because it's essentially used as like a loop or a sample, you know what I mean? So you go in, you do the boom chicka boom 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 or whatever, and then take that and then use it as a loop to put where you want it in the mix and stuff, and then record the rest of the vocal separate as far as verse and chorus parts. But I wouldn't be surprised. I'm pretty sure. Interesting, like compression and reverb on that part, right? That little beatbox sort of loop part. They make it sound like this old analog type of recording, as if you're listening to it off of a cassette, something that was recorded live, with the mic and everything. It's a nice touch. It's a nice touch. That's definitely gives it like a bit of that throwback type of feel.
Yeah. 뱉는 순간 널 beat kick on the drum, drum, drum. Sugar pop, I got some.
See, right there, like, okay, you got the kick, and you got a clap. So clap in place of like the snare accenting on the 2 and the 4. It's definitely in 4. You can tell right away, even from the intro parts. But even just that little, right, and what they did was dropped like the beat out and pretty much the rest of the mix. And for that, it was only like a single beat too out of that measure, and there was like all this reverb on it. Like it sounds so round. It's much bigger, right? It's like that's all it is. But the way it's processed, like the way it's produced, right, in the mix is like it makes it like this bubbly type of, you know, pop, like and it's really nice reverb. Like it's actually, you know, quite a thoughtful job on just handling that little hit, right? That little bit of like fricative sound, right? Like because that's all it is, really. It's just something percussive that's done with the tongue and the roof of the mouth, but the way they add like reverb and everything, it's really interesting. It gives it like so much body. So then there's a little that's on the that's bringing in the 8th note subdivision now. So you're kicking your 2 falling right on the beat, and it's like every, maybe in the third beat, you get that. It's like they're adding in the 8th note subdivision.
Watch me 24/7 아직 부족해 들리니 함께 있는 매일 put it on replay yeah 미쳐버릴 핫 만들어 yeah yeah beatbox 터뜨려 yeah yeah 너일수록 완벽한 공간 everywhere I go with the beatbox yeah 지금 올라타 우리 flow yeah yeah beatbox 터뜨려 yeah yeah 내 목소리 자체가 음악 everywhere I go bring the beatbox
There it is.
everywhere I go bring the beatbox
Boom. See, they even drop it. Okay, so there is this pitch shift that's happening with that little boom, chicka boom, chicka boom, boom. You can hear it go. It sounds like really young almost. You know what I mean? When they have it up high, and maybe depending on who does that, right, for that sample recording. But you can really tell when it starts to like shift into the lower ones, and it kind of gets that wobbly type of like wonky effect, you know, when it gets, you know, like the way it drops, right? But the dropping the beat right at the end there to just have sort of like an acapella, produced with the mouth, the just vocal with no instrumentation or backing or anything. So they're playing around with that concept of having something just delivered vocally, right? Like just using the voice and even the physical structure of the mouth as like an instrument, kind of. But it's cool. What else was in there? Just the NCT Dream, like the difference in the vocal, you know, tones and timbres of the different sounds. Like everybody's voice is so unique, right? And you know, when those melodic parts start to come in, right, towards the end of that verse, and you start to get those sung lines, that it's a complete like shift in the color that's going on in the vocal. And it's one of the fun things about NCT Dream, for sure, is that they got, you know, you got voices like Mark's in there, and a lot of times he does more of the rap parts, and then like these different sung parts, though, like the different ranges that everybody has. It's a really nice variety to the sound that you get. Again, 장난 없는 장단 boom 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 아프면 중독될 걸 염염염 너의 머릿속에
목에 ring 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 울려 따라하고 싶게 돼 그냥 listen up 입에 붙어 like a snack 다시 repeat 되는 trap.
You hear the processing on the vocal part there, and it isn't because it's more like it's still rapping. This style of the vocal part here is rapping, but it's given like a certain pitch. It sounds like it's above it, almost layered. Like there's the raw part of the vocal, and then there's this slightly lighter sort of pitch that is being added by the vocal production on this part.
Every time make it pop like soda. Yeah, 그게 pop like soda. Yeah, 처음 느끼는 new flavor. Watch me, just watch 따라오면 돼. 후회 않게 어딜 가도 이 rhythm은 계속 replay. Yeah, 미쳐버릴 hop 만들어. Yeah, yeah. Beat pop buzz 터뜨려. Yeah, yeah. 너일수록 완벽한 것만.
So the bass, it sounds like there's horns layered in there too. When you get that bum, 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 there's a synth bass that's going in there, but it also sounds like there's a pretty low end like synth type of horn sound that's layered with that.
Go bring the beatbox. Everywhere I go, bring the beatbox.
Oh, funky synth. Oh yeah, here. So yeah, the bass gets like so much more sustained now. Instead of just like boom and hitting that one beat, you know, the bass really sort of swells up and takes up the whole space, right, of the measure. And then you have like that little synth like arpeggio that's going on, and there's a whole shift here as far as the chords too that gives it this it kind of matches with like the color that they have going on too. The main part of the sound, like the other parts, your verse and your chorus sections and all that, really blue, like, you know what I mean, like that's the color that it kind of brings to my mind, and they have it a lot in the visual too. And when this chord shift happened for the bridge section, it definitely got more reddish, yellowish, orange. It felt like heat, you know, almost. That's kind of what describes like the contrast between the bridge section and the main sort of parts of the song. Everything got really warm here, and yeah, but it just sort of swell up or rise up, kind of like heat off of a really cool sort of blue sounding main parts, right? The main sort of groove of the song. Is that Mark with the high note? That's pretty good. The percussion, right? So the contrast that you have between the main section and the bridge section, the percussion is really like the glue that is holding everything together. And it does a little bit of a build up towards the end of this bridge section here, but keeping that you know, keeping your snare hit sound, right? Keeping you on that 2 and 4. Okay. Even with such a it's a pretty significant contrast once we move into the bridge section, but that percussion part of the mix is your through line. That's what's keeping you sort of there and like, oh yeah, this is the same song kind of. So cool. Synth chords. See? So much emphasis on these dynamic changes, you know, it's just sotto voce type of whispering sounds. all of it tied into this concept of just mouth noise, I guess you could call it, right? Dream raps. Feels like when they do that, that first time that you hear that boom chicka boom chicka chicka boom boom, the second time you get boom chicka and then it cuts and then chicka chicka boom boom. I feel like that part that is cut is actually the where the raw sound is, where the original sort of sound of that recorded loop is, and it's shifted up at the beginning and then shifted below it at the end of that. Percussion stays pretty much panned right in the mix. Like I hear it a lot in the right ear. Some vocals and a little bit of mostly the bass like goes over into the left. But it's fun. It's a really fun song. NCT Dream. I'm thinking now, like, if I think Hot Sauce and Hella Future, those mixes were completely different, right? Like, there's so much more going on with all these different synth parts and bass parts and percussion parts, and then of course the vocal, right? The vocal part of the mix over it. So this is like really has a different feel compared to, you know, the other stuff that I've heard from NCT Dream, but it's cool. It's like, it's really fun. This is really fun. This is a feel good type of like, okay, I can enjoy this. You know what I mean? It's got such a light feel to it. Light blue, right? Like just like this color, this sort of teal color that's going on right here. That's where it is. Like that's what the feeling of it is, the frequency, you know. And such a charming type of nostalgia. Like, you know, it's not sepia tone nostalgia. It's not nostalgia that makes you long for anything, or maybe makes you a little bit sad, you know. It's quite different. It's a very charming, upbeat, lighthearted type of nostalgia. Like it's just like a remembering fun things, fun times, things you enjoyed when you were growing up, kind of, or I guess when I was growing up, you know what I mean? But it's really, it's cool. It's interesting. It's such a different type of vibe, you know, compared to the other songs that I've heard. But it was fun, man. It was fun. It's a great concept. It's a great, you know, overall like feel, like the whole vibe to it and everything is just really enjoyable stuff, man. That was cool. That was quite interesting. I really dig the production work that's on it. You know, sort of the way that it works with the concept that they have going on here. It's it was just fun. It was just fun, man. Beatbox, NCT Dream. That was cool, man. That was cool. I guess I just need to hear more. You know, we need to cover some more stuff here, but that was fun. Beatbox by NCT Dream. A very cool sort of throwback vibe to it, but it was fun.